you're constantly running into that type of woman, then the problem is you. Because you're attracting a certain low vibrational energy. Why is
why
that?
not have that same energy for women? You just again, you have
because
the man
we having a
responsible.
conversation as men.
Yeah.
I got plenty of interviews with all women where I check them too.
Right.
But as a man, you should not be concerned about what I say to them. No, as men, we should be concerned of what we're going to do to produce a better generation of black males for tomorrow. That's the only, that is where we should be focusing.
Women bring the choice of life, right? We understand that, right? I can't have a child unless a woman agrees.
And she can't carry one if you didn't put it in her.
I agree with that 100% too, right? But whether or not, if you want that child or not, she can still make that decision. It's only
if
up
you
to her.
don't put a seed in her, nothing else happens. And no woman can make you put a seed in her. So the original act was the responsibility of a man.
True. I mean,
all right. So, did black men willingly leave the household, or was it the system that was?
It was systemic.
All right. So, how if we giving them grace for them having to do it without us, but it wasn't our fault? How are we not getting that same grace and that same respect?
I'm gonna tell you why.
Why?
I'm gonna tell you why. Because black men, as the leaders of the community, now
we can't be leaders.
Here's the question we got to make. Here's the question. Because the argument y'all make, feeds into the feminist agenda.
Okay.
It's an argument that says, I don't want the responsibility.
I'm a leader.
I don't want to fix shit. Right? Mm-hmm. I'm going to fall back and let her run everything. That's what the feminists tell. They say, look at them, making excuses for why they can't be better men, making excuses for why they can't make better men. You understand? Your argument feeds the feminist narrative.
That's
dangerous.
That's not what we're making excuses for.
I'm saying I am the better man, but I shouldn't be held responsible because you wanted to choose a Pookie and a Ray Ray. That's not me. I worked too hard in my life.
I'm going to go back to what I said. Pookie and Ray Ray shouldn't exist. And the only reason why Pookie and Ray Ray exist because we're not in the community making those boys the men they need to be. Do you see that? And, she don't get a Pookie if you didn't allow a Pookie.
But she got an Eli. She ain't come to Eli. She went to Pookie. And that's what we're trying to say.
She wouldn't have had a Pookie if we didn't allow one.
I worked too hard in my life.
She wouldn't have had a Pookie if we didn't allow one.
But Dr. Umar,
men supposed to make the raise the boys.
Right. We as men is holding other men accountable for the same thing that you're talking about right now.
What are we doing for the young brothers in the street? So
what you mean, mentoring them? No, I mean he's a great father.
I ain't talking about that's individual. That's good, but that's individualism. Yeah. What are we doing collectively as men to change the trajectory for black boys in the streets right now?
I
Nothing.
We're being
but talking shit.
Yeah, I mean you could take it.
It's not going to get better unless we put hands on deck. The reason the athletes and the rappers are the role models is the professional black man moved out the hood. Where the dentist at? He ain't in the black community no more. Where the lawyer at? Where the business owner at? Where your city council person at? We abandon black boys and then we blame black men.
Why do people listen to this guy? Okay. Why do people listen to this guy? Why don't anybody just, say what we're all thinking, that he's a fucking fat ass, buffoonish op and shit, okay? And I'm not just saying that because he's a beta male simp and shit and a female tampon and shit when he chooses to be, that he's a habitual fence hopper. At least that, Baba Rashan guy has age as an excuse for some of his bullshit, But this guy's sitting up here in front of a brother and shit, okay? Probably some more brothers in there. And they just letting him run off at the mouth and shit. Nobody checking his ass. We don't have any checks and balances. Our community can't go no fucking where without checks and balances. And we can start with this motherfucker right here. Okay? All they have to do is ask him, since he's so concerned about the black community, okay, the ethnic black community over here in the colonies, the goddamn slave quarters, because of people like him. Because of people like him that betrayed his own fucking people to line his goddamn pockets and shit. All they have to do is ask him about that goddamn school. And if he wants to press about these women and shit, ask him why he was clapping the cheeks of a stripper. Okay? And I'm not throwing shade at that stripper. Okay? But I want to know why he was doing that shit. What was going through Radio Raheem's mind when he was clapping the cheeks of a stripper and fucking off money that donations that people gave him for a school for black boys. He's talking about building a better black man. You can help the community, Dr. Umar, by leaving it, okay? By walking out. Don't let the door hit you where the good Lord split you and shit, because I'm tired of looking at you. I'm tired of listening to this shit, and I don't understand other Negroes. He would not be able to sit in front of me and do that shit and talk all loud and shit. I would over loud talk his ass, okay? And he could leave, or he could do what he feel like doing and shit. All right? As you well know, I'm from the south side of Chicago. I'm somewhat of a mental anomaly here. And I ain't for the shits. Okay, I ain't for the shits. You know, anybody who's been with me, riding with me for across a couple of channels and seen my content, know I don't pull no punches. Okay? I want accountability from supposed black leaders in our goddamn community and shit. And there is none. There's no, and as a byproduct, there's no accountability amongst our people. There's no definitive code of conduct. It makes us weak. It kills our political power and shit, and it allows the minority majority to have their way with us continually. And that's all part of the plan. And, you know, I just don't have no time. I want to know, you know, why no one just asks him about that school ad nauseum, no matter what he's talking about. Every time he show up, they should hit that shit like a slogan or a catchphrase or something, a meme. What about that school, Dr. Umar? Where is the school for black boys? The Marcus Garvey blah, 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 blah school. Where the fuck is it? Okay? Where the fuck is it? And by the way, if you are going to talk about that school, I want to know who was your fundraiser, who wrote grants for the school, who were potential investors and shit. Where were you going to get the curriculum from? How were you going to come up with the curriculum? Who were going to be the teachers in that school? There's a ton of questions you can ask him instead of sitting up and letting them run off at their mouth and shit. You know, when he's sitting here talking and shit, I would, you know, like just if I was going to be a dick about it and be facetious like he's being facetious to the host of this podcast, I would just have a bucket of chicken and put it like within reach. Say, oh, help yourself there, man. You know, and see if he'd like take it. Like, hey, man, you want some chicken? You know, have some chicken, motherfucker. You know, then throw some watermelon on that over there next to him and shit, you know, and see what he does. All right? This motherfucker, he pick and choose what his issue is from day to day. And it's your job as a person with common sense, as a human being with common sense, to question his bullshit. I don't know how he's sitting up in front. It reminded me of when Stacey Abrams had the nerve to sit on a similar podcast and look black men in the eye and tell them why they wasn't getting shit. And by proxy, tell black people why they wasn't getting shit in this supposed country. It's one of the reasons I can't stand the sight of her. And I'm glad that I don't pull that lever. All right? So I don't know what the deal is, but I keep seeing Dr. Umar pop up and shit. And to quote himself and shit. Don't you think that's suspicious? All right? Stop quoting this guy. He is no scholar. He is a fucking idiot and shit. I want accountability. If anybody have any common sense who's going to have him sitting on these podcasts, ask him those questions. Where that fucking school, man? Where's that school? Why are you worried about what's going on in a man's pants? It's kind of, you know, suspect and shit, okay? Why are you checking the guy's pockets? Are you in the bedroom when someone's about to have sex with whoever they're going to have sex with? It's none of your fucking business. That you want to be some kind of savior, a community activist and shit. You're not just going to wear that title. You're not just going to anoint yourself as some kind of community, you know, savior and shit, okay? All right, you're not the next Messiah and shit. You're a goofy. You're like Curly from the Three Stooges, motherfucker. Okay? Them other two stooges, they noped out when they figured you was on that grift, you know? You had that 5-finger discount, and you got your hand in the black community's back pocket, relieving them of their wallet and valuables and stealing gold watches and shit. Where that goddamn school? Who was going to be the principal of the school? What was the curriculum of the school? Who were the teachers of the school? Can you give us names? You know, how much money did you drum up for the school? Did you spend any money when you were going to the strip club and looking at the stripper? You know, I saw she was attractive. She had a nice body. Okay, so I know you paid the cost to be the boss and shit with donations that were given to you in good faith. You ought to be ashamed of yourself. And if you see him sitting in front of, you know, on the Breakfast Club and all this shit, he been going up and down and all around this shit, and nobody asked him no questions. Okay, I wouldn't have this fat nigga sitting in front of me, man. be quite honest, man. Shit. He was finding himself sitting in front of me. He should be like, I think he should keep his head on swivel, shit, because we're probably gonna roll him.
This message has been paid for by the Dusties. Yes, the niggas you love to hate.